Some people don't know the weave, and I laugh at you. Yeah, magic items don't exist except for as a contract with a god saying, oh, well, you designed this ability so that it can be utilized by someone. Where do you think you're getting that power? Who do you think is orchestrating the functionality of the spell? Let's read this over. Oh, it's
in D&D's lore that is so powerful. TSR, the company that made Dungeons & Dragons, warns you in the book about giving your players this magic item.
First of all, you're too stuck on the lore. It takes like 2 seconds to figure out that if you've made one of these things, or if you have somehow located it, chances are over 1,000 years ago, people with the ability to manipulate the magic in the sceptre absolutely removed its ability to banish anyone. Increased its ability to help with your healing from permanent to temporary, and increased the number from 9 to 500, and it still wouldn't be good enough. I can still kill you. So that part doesn't matter. Also, the ability to remove hit points. Permanent, well, that's a bit different than necrosis, but it really doesn't make much difference to me. I'm absolutely not enthused by this weapon.
And Wizards of the Coast has never added this item to any official source books because of its game-breaking ability. And if you're still not convinced, when you find this magic item, according to the lore, you become public enemy number 1 of all of the gods in the Pantheon. Today, we are talking about one of the most stupidly overpowered magic items in all of D&D's history, the Sceptre of the Sorcerer King.
So here's the thing. The weave was different back in the day. Magic was... you could just pull around the weave yourself, and there was power in the weave to handle 10th and 20th level spells. That takes God knows what in order to function. The spells that we have nowadays are extremely tiny in comparison to the previous weave. And there's a reason for that. Game balancing. But in reality, there's no such thing as a limit for the utilization of the weave. You absolutely can do a lot of work to compress a lot of magic into a small area if a bunch of people or a very old person has used the majority of their life to do so. And then it's utilized wherever, whenever.
Released in the Book of Artifacts, which came out for D&D 2nd edition in October of 1993. Page 95 contains the entry for this item.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of this. Let's go to that now. Okay, so to start with, we have this seemingly innocuous sceptre made by a curious blue metal At the end of the cap by the hollow circlet with two curved horns. So it's literally silver and blue. No, it looks like this. It's actually blue. Anyway, to protect it, horns project from the other end. Overall, the scepter is in size. Whatever else in the history is like a long time ago, the guy lived and such kings and stuff. There's something about this where it's wait. Where's the curse? I'm confused. I thought there was. Is this the same page? Okay, I'll have to go back and find out what the hell is going on.
You can pause to read now. To briefly summarize, this scepter was created by Galerius Laharum, who was a sorcerer king of the Netherese Empire. He created the scepter because he saw himself as powerful as the gods and decided he got tired of the gods interfering.
Yeah, but in the end, a person is still not a full G god. Usually, as standard in all of the different times I've heard of these situations. Except for if made a god by Kuatoa, which is different because they themselves are god makers and have that ability. But, like naturally you'd have to have them persist you. Otherwise, you're not persisted.
With his affairs. And I would like to point out this little section here that DMs are advised to think long and hard before introducing this item into any of your games. So what does this scepter do? Well, it's got one passive and two active abilities, and it's also got a curse on it. The passive ability makes it so if you were targeted by a magic or psionic ability...
This wasn't on the same page. I literally couldn't see curse on any of this, so powers and all that stuff is a separate page. Good to know.
It rebounds the spell at the caster and multiplies the damage by 10.
Let's just hold the phone, you silly goose. Tenfold. Okay, so yeah, I guess the idea is, for the example, if it's magic missile or whatever else, and the d4 plus 1 equals possibly a maximum of 5, the total maximum damage you can then wield is 50 damage. I've had characters who have 80 damage health points. So this is depending on... So really, if again... Magic or psionic, all you have to do is use bludgeoning, slashing, or like anyone else can damage this person, and their attack power will not come back tenfold. It will just be same boring, you're dead, and don't use magic on me, blah blah blah. Who cares? I can still kill you. A halfling can kill you. So... I mean, why are we worried?
It rebounds the spell at the caster and multiplies the damage by 10. Now, the first...
Now, imagine if you have a... Okay, obviously, if you imagine a spell that initially has the power of, say, a fireball or whatever, and then you have it multiplied by 10, suddenly you're dealing... so many freaking amounts of damage, and the best way to do that is to calculate the fireball first and then multiply by 10, or to use a higher order die. I don't know.
Active ability says 9 times a day you can touch the scepter to a creature and either cast the heal or the harm spell on that creature.
Okay, in either case, The heal harm spell wield as the wielder wills. So, like, you can choose to do this. Apparently, in either case, the gain or loss is 2d12 points of damage. That is not how heal and harm works. So, which requires a successful attack roll. Unwilling target to heal and harm as wheeler wills. In either case, in the gain or loss is 2d12. So that's not 9. I know that there is 9 points, and you can have more impermanent. Yeah, one of these points is always permanent gain or loss. So it's not just you do damage, and one of them is gonna stick. So a chance of max 24 damage unless you do crit damage, and then you get 48 damage as one of the abilities. And healing, if it's healing, you can heal 48 damage, and one of them is permanent. I'd rather just have plain healing. I don't give a shit about the one permanent. Some people care, but when you eventually have 200 health points, an extra 9's really not going to cut it. They're just going to take that one more hit to kill you. In fact, 9 is like my character's level 1 ability of damage. If they're using a bow that was a +1 bow, then boom, they're done. Or if I use my sickle and hammer approach, or my dual wielding hammers, which are light weapons, D4, the max damage I can do is +4, plus my dexterity. If I have +4 dexterity, then that means I do 16 total damage with sickles. So +9 permanent health. I really don't think that matters until you remember that plus permanent health from multiple different effects can stack. So you could develop some set, as this is one tool, you could develop multiple of these type of tools, or it already has existed where you have like a crown or living armor or whatever other thing that gives you a bonus that's permanent. This is such a waste for just 9. It's like if you focus just on the health, it just really is underwhelming.
And depending on if you heal or harm that creature will either permanently lose or gain 1 hit point, which in 2nd edition was actually a lot of hit points because certain classes, like wizards, would only gain 1 hit point for every level they advance beyond level 9.
Again, I don't care. Gaining 1 hit point is interesting per level, but still equivalent to the, if you're getting, like, if you think about the maximum amount of hit points that you have, if you went from 10 to 19 eventually, you did that in 1 day. That was a massive jump in a single day. It can't happen again. It doesn't happen again, and it will never happen again unless you have other items that can boost your health. So, and again, that still just means that you're able to have that much health. It doesn't do anything about AC, so you still are squishy, and it just takes twice as long to kill you if you started with 10 health points. Most people don't start with 10. I don't understand how impressive it really could have been back then, because I don't know the back then system. But I'm saying this doesn't look impressive to me yet.
Another active ability says that you can cast Dispel Magic once per day, targeting an item that you touch with the scepter. And every time you use that power, there's a 33.3 repeating, of course, chance that you're going to permanently remove the magic from that item and create a 60-foot permanent radius of dead magic. But the curse is why the gods will want you dead. Exactly 10 days after you pick up the scepter, one random deity will be permanently banished from reality. And while they are banished, they cannot be observed, contacted, and they have no influence on the world or beings at all.
This is lore inaccurate. I'm gonna say it to you bluntly, there's no banishment that you can do that people can't find a way to sneak into. From reality. Where did you go? Because unfortunately, it's not that you are erased from reality, you're banished, meaning you are pushed away to somewhere else. Like being shunted to the fire plane, you're just in another area. So, what? You can't die. You're a god. And two, okay, you can't really communicate to anyone else, so much as it may seem, but there are some things, for example, the ability to maybe hear me out, with a bit of chronomancy type of mysterious nonsense, like with, they mentioned psionics. Don't get me started with, an illithid or something. But, like, mind flares, you know? They come from the future. Banished from reality in this timeline doesn't mean banished from reality at all. It means for a section of time you are banished. Temporary, temporal, and not perfect banishment. So, most gods, right, if they could see into the future, they would be like, well, I'm going to get banished at some point, so I'm going to pre-plan to manage everything that's going to happen to get me unbanished. This is not a problem for most people who actually know what the hell they're doing as a god. Okay? And if you don't have that plan, your followers are smart enough, you don't even need to do anything, they'll get you back. So it doesn't matter if somehow you're not able to do things. Other people can do things. There are ways. We have all sorts of mix-arounds. The wish spell and everything else, which is a human basics thing that they can just do. So, but who's there to manage the weave if all the people who could manage the spells are banished? There's not just one god. There are multiple gods. There are rival gods. And, ironically, this could be a trap to be like, oh, well, we want to try to banish. It banishes a random person who is a god. Also, one deity is affected per use of the scepter, although these whose those whose area of control includes magic are immune? Hold on. The deity who controls magic themselves, Mistra, can't be banished. 'Cause duh, why would I banish my own self? It's a contract that I'm having with myself. Come on. We're not worried about it. We're just gonna undo whatever you did. Gods, wizards, genies can all just be like, I don't think so, and it's fine.
Any rangers or priests of that deity cannot gain any additional spells, and the only deities that are immune
We're what?
to that effect are those who control magic as part of their portfolio.
So, literally, head gods, obviously, don't get banished, because obviously they wouldn't handle their own contract, or a contract to do something to someone else. Ironically, they will do it to a lesser one, which means it's not your fault. It's still Mistra's fault. It's not you. You don't have to worry about it, okay? If Mistra says that you want to have someone be pushed out of existence for a minute, okay, that happens for a minute. They'll be back. They're just going to the bathroom. Don't worry about it.
And this final paragraph here says that senior priests are given the instructions to kill whoever wields the scepter and then bring it to the god, because deities themselves are blind to the location of the scepter. And finally, the book gives you 3 possible avenues to permanently destroy this magic item should you acquire it, which includes slaying a god, slaying the liches of the Netherese Arcanists that are now all super powerful liches.
The scepter is destroyed when the last one of the scepter kings, priests or liches, are hunted down and killed. Of course, the scepter is powerless against its makers. It's funny how it's such a thing, but the ones who control the magic itself still have absolute power over it and don't need to follow any of its stipulations, and could be like, oh, we have this contract inside this scepter. You think that was made and then it lasted. No, it was made, it lasted because until the person died, right? But all I have to do is then task people to kill the guy, or obviously, oh, hold on. Powerless against its maker. That's not how items work. Items have their own power. They could have a contract specifically stating that they will not harm their own maker, but what if we change how their form is into someone else? Change their soul, perhaps? I don't know. One thing or another.
Or getting every god in the pantheon to agree to stop meddling in the affairs of mortals. So would you get
every god in the pantheon to stop meddling with the affairs of mortals is so like, oh my god. They've been just screwing around too much, and this scepter simply will just not work as long as everyone is cooperative or whatever. That is such a 10-year-old experience. I can't express just how silly that is. Like, come on, just work together, okay? Just stop meddling with. It's fun to meddle with people. Not to mention, you can put them on a direction that could help them cure something or whatever. Listen. There's the idea of being used and the idea of being useful. One of those perspectives you like, and one of them you don't. But guess what? There's no difference between being used and being useful. You can just think of it as being useful, and suddenly you don't care. Listen. This scepter is cute, but in reality, it's powerless. Scepter scrolls, all these things, they don't have independent, just the capacity of managing spells and making things happen. They tug, the thing does the thing, because it was like, yeah, we'll connect you. It's like, okay, so you pick up the thing and we basically rewrite it to be like, oh yeah, no, we were totally willing to make that spell be like, until we figured out that it existed, and then like, no, we don't care. So the best that it can do is like make a god's hair pink or something, and or like teleport them somewhere randomly. There is no banishment from reality. With regards to the wish spell, yeah, there are such things. It's still not permanent because it's not. There are just a number of loopholes and whatever else that it's like, okay, it's a bit of a hassle or whatever else. Personally, again, I think the ability to heal like 40 hit points or whatever, or no, what was it? It was a certain amount of hit points or something. Where's the power part of the thing? Can you get out of the way so I can actually read this? I forget if you do.
Hard before introducing this item into any of your games. So what does the scepter do? Well, it's got...
Also, I can't read because this is annoying. Go away. Can you fuck off for a second with the whatever
so what
this?
Does the scepter do?
Yes, thank you. Fuck.
Well, it's got...
I would like it so I could read.
One passive and two...
Do you actually let me have the ability to read?
active abilities, and it's also got a curse on it. The passive...
Oh, fuck. You said you could let us read, and then, like, in this part of the thing, you realize there are 2 pages to this. There's this page, which is the history, the other stuff. The powers is on the second page, and you block all of that. I'm not gonna hate you for it. I'm just saying...
into any of your games. So what...
I don't find where you let us be able to screenshot this, but I'll say, you know what, so what is is probably the best screenshot I can get of that part. There's also like 11th day of the procession of receive the thing of the irate. What the hell is up with whatever's happening?
What does the scepter do? Well,
on the top of the page, because that's
it's got one
a
passive and
lot.
2 active abilities, and it's also got a curse on it. The passive ability makes...
Okay, whatever. We get to eventually the fourth quarter of the page or whatever, and please.
Of that deity cannot gain...
Okay, whatever. Let's just get...
any additional spells. And the only deities that are immune to that effect are those who themselves are blind to the location of the scepter. And finally, the book gives you 3 possible avenues to permanently destroy this magic item should you acquire it, which includes slaying a god, slaying the liches of the Netherese Arcanist that are now all super powerful liches, or getting every god in the Pantheon to agree to stop meddling in the affairs.
It just feels... nitpicky. First of all, yeah, no, I don't think that anyone finding this scepter would have those abilities intact. They would have been ripped out of the scepter. Right? So there's not really a concern. Like, in the end, everything in the game is homebrew, so you don't have to follow any of the ideas in a page. It's a suggestion at most, and it also pertains to everything that we already know about the weave, everything we know about the gods, and I'm not concerned about this item whatsoever. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna remove a demigod from existence. Okay. So you pick it up 10 days later or something else happens. What if you never put it down? What if like a bunch of people just remove all of the demigods? Right? Some calamity or whatever else. Also, in the comments, I mentioned this idea of chronomancy. People don't know magic at all. 9 hit points, max. But I can imagine other ways to get that. The scepter hasn't affected you in the future. One has. So chronomancy equals an infinite health glitch. Oh, side note. Except for the god guaranteeing the power of the scepter gets banished. Which I said jokingly, literally the power of the scepter is, like, it literally is limited, that it will not do anything like that. Honey, I'm not that limited. I can banish Mistra, and you cannot stop me. This scepter is not as powerful as I am. I am the Univarion. What is that? It is a material item. Basically has the abilities of all sorts of magics. It is essentially a mechanical god, able of handling things in replace of any other deity, and is fully capable of doing Way more. Also, if someone were to make this scepter to try to deal with me, I would just pluck the scepter. Like, the timeline is... just imagine the scenario. You go to reach for the scepter. Suddenly, it vanishes. Guess what? It comes back. Certain abilities absolutely removed from it, or it is nothing. Ironically, we just stepped on a scepter that was part of a dragon's hoard. This is that scepter. We broke it. We broke it by stepping on it. I have to send this to my DM. It's too fucking silly.